Gentlemen, welcome to the March 15th, 2021 meeting of the Bellingham Board of Selectmen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chair is oddly low. I think you switched it on me. We have a unique agenda tonight because we're doing, as planned, a number of appointments later in the meeting. In the 7 o'clock hour, we did have an applicant for the Board of Health interviews. That situation is unable to materialize, so we're jumping to the second part of our other business, and that would be the February abatements.
Okay, so if anyone has, I'm going to read them and then I have a little explanation and then questions if you have them. Mr. Chairman, I am going to present the abatements for February 2021. Capital improvement charge in the amount of $360, sewer charge in the amount of $481, stormwater in the amount of $1,490.10, trash in the amount of $412.79, water in the amount of $11,366.64, for a total of $14,110.86. So
Do tell on the
you want me
11,000.
to?
Yes, please.
Okay, so stormwater charges, which were the 1,400, were for a realty trust. The original billing for stormwater was assessed on the parcel, but it was brought to Barbara's attention that the parcel was subdivided into condos, so the original billing was abated and subsequent billing for each condo, so it ended up being a net zero billing. So the 110 Maplebrook property, that's for water, was accidentally typed in as 10,000 instead of 1,800. So that accounted for that. Those were the two biggest ones. There was another one that they had several calls to the site. I'll give you the address if you want it. The owner at that address demanded they come out for a second time to prove that we didn't know which curb stop belonged to her house. Neighbor dispute. They abated one of the service calls. So there was a little, Hillary did some research, so we got some information from Barbara. I went back and forth with Barbara, so we had all of that clear for tonight. If anyone would like to see the full printout on paper, I have it, but it's also in your.
Okay, do we have a second?
second.
First and second, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, none. And I would note that we are a full board of 5. Mr. Martinez is at home recuperating, but joining us online. All right, minutes for February 20th, 22nd, and March 1st. I'll take one for the February 20th minutes.
So moved. Second.
First and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none. February 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none. And March 1st.
Second.
First and seconded. Any discussion? Nice job, Hillary, by the way, as always. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. John, I'm not sure you saw the executive session minutes because you weren't coming in this evening,
Right. No, I didn't.
but all indications, we've looked at them all, and the 3 in question, July 13th of 2020, January 25th of 2021, and February 8th of 2021 are recommended to be approved, but
Okay.
not released. I don't know if you want to just abstain from that, Dawn, and
I'll abstain, Mr. Connor, since I haven't had a chance to review them. And but I if my fellow colleagues are okay with it, I think I'll abstain just for purpose.
all right. Entertain a motion. First and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 401. And just for the minutes, Hillary, if we could note that we have still outstanding approved but not released March 19th, 2018 and May 11th, 2020, and Dennis will review those to determine if we should release any part of those at our next meeting. Okay. All set there? All right. Town meeting warrant. Hillary, what's that all about?
I think we're just going to, I'm gonna have you guys.
Just to sign the book, right?
sign it and
Yeah.
move it forward. I don't know if you, sometimes we do a motion.
Motion to approve the town meeting as presented. Town meeting warrant.
First and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Restaurant outdoor seating expansion, is that what you just handed us tonight? Or is there more to that?
No, so, this is just a continuation from last summer. We, our inspection team went out and did some inspections on restaurants that wanted to, have some outdoor seating. And that, it continues until the end of the, state of emergency until it's lifted, or 60 days after. So we just want to be able to let the restaurants continue to do the outside, seating, and Tim and Jim will go inspect, just to make sure they're all on the same page as last year.
That was,
And we'll send out an email.
did
to
we
all the
discuss that that was through September plus 60 days, which
So
would get
it's-
us through all of
it's until
21?
the governor ends the state of emergency, and then they have 60 days from that.
So if the
so-
governor were to release that on July 1st, that means people would have to cease that on,
They have 60 days.
should we amend that to just allow it for all of 2021? Or
So
is
I
that-
spoke to the ABCC, and they were fairly confident that the state of emergency would not end until the end.
Okay,
Do restaurants need to do anything?
I'm gonna send out an email and just have them contact either myself or Jim, and just so we can go over what they're gonna do.
Just come out and check out how they're set up. Okay.
and do you need a vote or anything? That's just
No, it's
informational.
not on, but-
Okay. All right. Just next order of business is our old business, the annual appointments for open positions. And to recap for anyone not watching or listening up to this point, with the COVID-19, we did not take action in March of 2020. And hence, over the last two meetings, we broke the interviews into two segments. And then subsequently asked anyone of the incumbents who were looking to return to just express that interest. Basically, their interview process was their tenure on the boards. So we have a number to go through. I'll just take them in order. Just need a motion, a second, and then we'll do the quick vote. If anyone wants to stop on any one particular, we can. Norfolk County Advisory Board, Larry Spizzato, 1-year term expiring March of 22.
So moved.
Second.
Is that typically-
Can we just, at point of order, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, can we just read through them and just, make a motion at the end?
Certainly. Norfolk County Advisory Board, Larry Spizzato, 1-year term expiring March of 22. Board of Health, Patricia LaCare, 3-year term expiring March of 24. Board of Registrars, Sandra Tracy, 3-year term expiring March of 24. Cemetery Committee, Francis Cartier, 3-year term expiring March of 24.
Mr. Connor?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, did you say, Mr. Forte? I missed that.
I did not.
Okay.
Cemetery Committee, Conservation Commission, Brian Norton, 3-year term expiring March of 24. Noel Leochi, is that the right way to say that? Noel. 3-year term expiring March of 24. Ariane Barton, 3-year term expiring March of 24. Council on Aging, 4 members, Kay Page, Tina Tyler Arsenault, Ming Ming He, Glenette Laverdiere. The first 3 are 3-year terms expiring March of 24. Glenette Laverdiere is being adjusted to a 1-year term expiring March of 22 for the purpose of realigning their 7-member board so that they're on a 3-2-2 schedule. Board of Tax Assessors, Tara Damiano, 3 years, March of 24. Town Common Trustees, 2 of them, Joanne Arcan, David Wyatt, 3-year terms expiring March of 24. Zoning Board of Appeals, Peter Gabriel, 5-year term expiring March of 26. And then we have new applicants for the Board of Tax Assessors, Lynn Roy, to fill the, well, why don't we stop at the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Mhm.
We have a motion for that group.
Second.
First and seconded, any discussion?
Just a question with regards to, we have Conservation Commission, we have Council of Aging, that there are new applicants for. If we approve those 2 committees with the incumbents right now, are we not giving the new applicants a vote, I guess?
There was some discussion relative to the,
And, yeah, council, yeah.
to the Charter Committee. Mr. Lucier was interested in the Conservation Commission, but there's interest separately from the Planning Board.
Okay.
For an associate position. So there was some discussion, but that would require a joint appointment.
Okay.
So that's separate. Council on Aging, as Kay mentioned, they're looking under the charter to expand by 2 members. So we would in effect have 1 open position.
Okay.
If we were to take this up in probably June or July after town meeting. And associate member of the Planning Board, again, and that's a joint appointment. So no action on Mr. Lucia, Mr. Dunbar, and Mr. Brotman at this time.
Fair
There
enough.
was some discussion about making Mr. Dunbar an associate member, is that what you're?
Yes.
doing now?
Yes, but we requires both boards. I mean, we could make a recommendation, but I think we want,
No, I mean, for the Council on Aging.
okay, yeah, we can take that up after we do the top part then.
Okay.
All right, so we have a first and second on the top portion. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None, 5-0. Board of Tax Assessors, this is a new applicant, Lynn Roy, filling the unexpired term, expiring March of 22. I believe this came with the recommendation of Betsy. So entertain a motion for Lynn Roy.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We'll give Don and Cindy that credit. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Historical Commission, I feel like Marjorie wrote the book on some of Bellingham's history,
Yeah,
but
right.
literally.
Yeah. So moved.
That's 3 years for March 24. So Don first and seconded by?
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, 5-0. So again, the Council on Aging, David Dunbar, there was discussions from Kay to name David as an associate member pending the charter expansion. In either way, so I'd entertain a motion to do that.
Second.
First and second. I need other discussion, assuming none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. That leaves open Robert Lucier and Jeremy Brotman's situation. And as we didn't have the interview at 7 o'clock, the unexpired term of Vinnie Fort for 2 years, expiring March of 23, will take no action. Vinnie remains on the board. So no action is necessary there. Works for everyone? All right, moving right along. New business, ratification of deputy town accountant appointment, Christina Boyan. Dennis?
Okay, do you want to do my appointments first?
Oh, yes, please.
Administrator appointments? All right, administrative.
Hillary does.
Do you want me to just read them quickly?
You weren't on my agenda, so.
Administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen, Hillary Alley, who becomes more indispensable by the day, 1 year. Term would expire 3/22. Assistant Animal Control Officers, again, that's Bellingham and Franklin. Gregory Giordano, Michael Taddeo, Samuel Taddeo, John Power, and Cindy Souza. Those are all 1-year appointments. Auxiliary Police / Special Police, Lieutenant John Cocker, Sergeant Dana Lovejoy, Sergeant Craig Rioli, Patrolman William Moyos, Patrolman Robert Wheeler, Patrolman Mark Rebello, Patrolman Greg Brown. Each of those is for 1 year. Emergency Management Agency Director Chris Milo, 1 year. Inspector of Gas, Roger Gabry for 1 year, and then assistant inspectors. And again, they're only called in the event that Roger's away. Barry Idarola, Jay Palermo, and Francis Cebio. Assistant Building Inspector Stephen Johnson and John Erickson. Inspector of Weights and Measures John Walsh. Inspector of Wires Eugene Reckert. Veterans Agent Bob Greenall, and Workers' Compensation Agent Beth Cornell Smith.
Motion to ratify town administrator's appointments.
Second.
First and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Come back, Hillary.
Thank you.
So before we move on to the business, just a discussion with the board as far as time frame. I obviously we would do something similar in March of 23. But I think for me personally, it worked very well to have a couple meetings leading up instead of having to do that process. I think the window between October 1st and December 31st is a good window to post to express interest, as opposed to post it and 2 weeks later, who we have applicants. It allows Hillary enough time to gather from the incumbents their interest, and then to go through this process in February into March. So for what it's worth, you could add something along that narrative to the minutes if we wanted to do something similar. The next chair can have their way with the process.
Call it the Connor process.
I would never call it the Connor process.
No, I like that. Kudos to you for that.
I do like the idea of not having to interview someone and then having to have the full-blown discussion, because there's a lot to it and not to be taken lightly. Next up, Dennis.
I agree.
We have a vacancy in the finance office. Mary's been holding down the fort admirably, along with Carol Mandilli, doing a great job in there. But we were fortunate that we went back in history to recruit someone that worked for the town school department from 2002 to about 2010. Chrissy Boyan worked in the business office. Very familiar with Chrissy. Any of us that work in finance or involved in finance know Chrissy. Mary knew her. Mary serviced the software that was being used at that point in time. So Mary's very familiar with Chrissy. She's worked in she left Bellingham to accept a more advanced position in another community, and since then worked in 2 other towns. She's got a wealth of knowledge, and Mary is very excited to have her join the finance team as the deputy town accountant. So I have appointed her to that position, and I asked the board's recommendation. I know Mary's online as well, and I'm sure she'll give 2 thumbs up. Chrissy joined us tonight as well. Chrissy actually, she's not starting until April, and she's already been asking for different things from Mary to get up to speed so she can hit the ground running. So she's somebody that I know is going to do a spectacular job for us.
Well, welcome back for sure, and congratulations on your new position.
Thanks, everybody. I'm looking forward to coming back to the town, that's for sure.
And Mary's smile says it all.
That's it. We like to keep Mary happy.
9 p.m. at least once a week now.
Yeah. Very good. Well, we look forward to having you on board in April.
Thank you.
Chair, I make a motion to ratify the appointment of Christina Boyan to the assistant deputy town
Accountant.
accountant.
Second.
First and
Second.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Just under old or new business, where are we with FinCom as far as the budget?
Okay, I was just going to give you an
Oh.
update as part of my.
Town administrator report.
Yeah, we're actually have had several meetings with the finance committee. We're going to be meeting with them again on March 22nd. They had DPW in this past week. It looks like they're going to have the same boards that come in that the selectmen had, and many of them attended our public hearing, so they're very much up to speed. They're moving right along. They went through most of the budgets at their last meeting, and they're going to, I think, be taking action on those budgets next Monday, which is the 22nd. So they're doing quite well. I think they're going to be meeting with the school committee I believe the second Monday in April. So that's their plan at this point in time. But that's been going extremely well. Vaccination for seniors down at Rentham Manor went great today. All indications are that it was very smooth. We had detail paramedics doing the shots along with Esther was doing them. I did not go down, but I heard it went extremely well. So they were quite pleased with that. They'll be doing depot court, and then they'll be doing quite a few seniors as well. So about 200 vaccinations that we'll be doing here. It was also, I'll let Kelly and Cindy chime in on the event we were at this morning after I'm done.
Okay.
I'll finish up. I'll be quick. All right. The town center project, actually, it will be advertised in the Central Register next week. So that is real. It really is going to happen. We've been talking about it for so long, but unfortunately, a lot of delays at the state level, a lot of review by them because of the fact that it impacts Route 140. That's a state highway. So it's just slowed things down to a snail's pace. No real significant revisions. It's just they've got to review it at District 3, then it goes to the state offices in Boston. They have to sign off on it. So we're just about to the end of that road. Nothing's changed in the plan that you saw previously. So that is going to be advertised in the Central Register. We are planning on a bid opening. I think board members may have gotten an email from Don in the end of April is what the plan is to have that bid opening. So that'll be very exciting to have that project really get going. The TIP project, we were before the school committee last week to talk about I hate to call it a basin, but when we put in a couple of miles of new impervious, even though it's already an existing roadway, the project goes from the bus barn all the way to the town center. We've got to manage our stormwater the same way that we expect any of the businesses to do it. So with new projects, it's something that we're required to do. We met with the school committee to propose and get their approval on putting a basin in front of the middle school. My first thought on that was there's no way we're going to put a big retention basin in front of the middle school. But when you see what they look like today, they're really not your typical stormwater basin. It's a 4-to-1 slope. It's landscaped. It's actually going to look relatively nice. And Jim did a great job of bringing up existing examples of the ones at the schools around the new schools in Franklin, community centers that have them. It's more of a detention area, so it will be somewhat of a basin. It's not going to hold water. Heavy rain will hold water for a very short time. No fencing. It'll be landscaped. So if you want to see some of the examples that are in Franklin, that are in some of the other school districts that have recently had newly built schools, I'll actually ask Jim to send them out to the board so you can see what it would look like. It's not your typical stormwater basin that you'd see in a lot of the neighborhoods, and that was my first thought. And 6 months ago, I had Don looking everywhere to try and find a different location for this thing, and then Jim brought in some examples of what it would look like, and Don did the same, and school committee was presented with that. And initially they were very concerned, obviously, but I think they're satisfied that it's going to be something that isn't some big ugly structure in front of our school alongside a newly constructed road. So the project.
Where is it going to go in the front of the school? I'm asking because I know the Dave
Sign.
Cutlery and the school are working on a project right now to sell bricks.
Yep.
To replace all the bricks around the memorial. So is it going to be in that?
It's going to be on the 126 side, and we've accounted for our sign, of course, that's going in, so that's fully accounted for within the specification plans. But it's not, and I did get a brick today. It might have been the first one when that email came out. But yes, Dave's putting bricks
I
around
got
the
one
memorial.
too, so that's why I was just asking, because
Yeah.
I said front, but it's like, all right, so
Yeah,
on
it's on the
126 where there's a
126
lot of, empty grass space,
But the
yeah.
important thing is, it's not gonna be your typical detention basin that you'd see in a lot of the subdivisions. I know they have one at the end of my road, which is a big pit with a black fence around it. It's not what it's gonna look like.
Well, that's
So,
good, because a lot of times I'll drive by and I see kids out with their teachers getting some fresh
Yep.
air. So
Well,
that
right
would-
now it's the mask break, so that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, and that was, we got an email, the board did about community garden, and of course, the community garden on Center Street. There wasn't a whole lot of interest, and it ended up having a year or two after we had prepped it and put a fair amount in it, but there's a gentleman in, Tony DeCoste, who's putting a lot of time and energy into it. I said, if you want to take it and run with it, that's great. Any funds that are generated from sale of plots would come into the town of Bellingham, into a special fund that Mary's hearing about now for the first time, so I'll be talking to her about
You
that.
got her attention.
They would be gifted, that it would be funds that would be gifted to the town specifically for the community garden. So, and they would be gifted by individuals who want to plant there. Similar, exactly what the YMCA did, except those funds would be coming into the town. And it's going to be all volunteers, and Tony's out there putting it on Facebook,
Yes,
working hard on
Yep,
it.
it
So
went up today.
if it takes off, great. And as I told you, we put a lot of time, effort, and resources into it. And to invest much more into it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But if the community's behind it and they want to support it, the area was there, it was prepped for a garden, the materials were put in there. So hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll take off and won't be the overgrown area that it is right now.
Yep.
That's all that I had. And I know we were at an event this morning, as I said earlier, and let you two touch on that.
The highlight for me was just seeing the collaboration across the different parties up at the State House and locally coming together to make something as significant as a site for us to be able to get vaccinated. And it was energizing to see that. There's so much negative press right now and has been for quite some time, but it felt good to be part of a community that can work with, I forget how many towns in total.
12.
It's 12, okay, so we're, Mike represents 4 of those, but it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was really,
I was there too, Dennis.
I'm sorry, Nick.
Yeah, so.
You and I were sitting together.
I was the guy sitting next to you, but it's okay.
So for anyone watching who doesn't actually know what we're talking about is, Oxbridge has opened up the Southern Worcester County COVID vaccination site to service 12 towns in Southern Worcester County. You still use the MassVac site to sign up for your vaccination time there. But the setup was awesome with all of the different areas for to get your shots, your recovery areas to book your second vaccination shot, anyone who needed help. It's going to be an awesome operation once it gets going on Tuesday, I think, or Monday the 22nd. Monday the 22nd.
I'm supposed to be getting the vaccines this week, I think.
Mr. Spencer and I were sitting together eating donuts. Maybe.
Eating something.
They were good. I don't know where they
I
got
took my
those donuts.
jumbos.
Just to touch on what Cindy was saying. So it was a collaboration. Rep Soder was kind of the driving force as Uxbridge was in his 8th Worcester district. But it was a collaboration with Senator Fatman, Senator Murray. Then you also had Rep McKenna, Rep Meridian, Rep Murray, and then Rep Frost as well, all whose towns are part of the 12-town district. Now, it's not just serving those 12 towns, as anyone in Massachusetts could sign up to go to one of these locations, but just seeing the collaboration of the Democrats and the Republicans saying, to heck with, parties, we're serving the community, and I wish that's something we could see a little bit more on a federal level as we could on a state level that we saw. So it was fantastic.
It's going to actually start vaccinations on Monday, next Monday, 750 a day, 5 days a week, which is impressive. The 5th day is going to be nothing. But again, Rep Soda was working hard for about a month and a half on this. We were interested in doing it in Bellingham, but we really didn't have the site. They've got a high school that's not being used anymore, so it's the perfect location. But Mike did a phenomenal job, and everyone acknowledged that he really was the driving force on this thing. So great job by him.
Fantastic. Dawn, would you like to make any comments? I hear that you were chairman of the charter committee, where that's at. You're muted. Dawn.
Thank you. I've got two mute buttons here. I thought I turned them both off. No, we had our first kickoff meeting. Actually, Jim Cupper ran most of the meeting. I was appointed chairman toward the end of it, but we'll be getting together on Mondays, I think, or no, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. The date, second Monday of the month. And our next meeting is April. We'll be reviewing the charter. We'll be reviewing zoning bylaws, et cetera. And we'll be coordinating additional meetings to pull smaller groups together to kind of give it a real dissection as we look forward to the next 10 years. So we expect the process to take about 1 year. And it may take a little bit longer. It all depends on how we come together, but I'm looking forward to working with the team that's assembled. And I apologize for missing this morning's event. I had all intentions of being there, but I'll just announce I am the proud grandfather of my third grandchild. My son and daughter-in-law had a baby on Sunday morning, and my wife and I rushed off to Plymouth at 3 a.m. on Sunday, and we got back this afternoon. So I missed this morning. I apologize.
Congrats.
Very good.
Thank you.
I have one more thing.
Yes,
I
Howard.
put in the email. We had a late straggler for 2 bulk storage licenses. It was back and forth with the owner getting paperwork and checks and whatnot. So I was looking to see if I could have someone entertain a motion to renew the bulk storage licenses for 170 Mechanic Street and 745 South Main Street. They've been inspected. And this is this.
170 Mechanic would be,
So one is Bellingham Nursery and the other one is the firewood shop. Next to. name of it?
Antron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, yeah,
So moved.
second,
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Lastly, and just election papers are due back tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and it does not look like we're going to have a riveting election. With very few, if any, contested races. So we'll cover that with Mr. Spizzato at presumably the next meeting. I guess just in closing, we had a meeting with Mr. Meehan's group at the north end of town relative to the houses across from Dunkin' Donuts. There was an initial meeting with the 7 immediate abutters. And the next phase of that would be for him to come to some agreement with the Board of Selectmen and simultaneously to expand that to the zoning and or planning board with the neighbors who live 300 feet away. So some progress is being made, albeit slow, but his intentions obviously have to be heard out by the neighbors.
He seemed receptive to what the concerns were.
Very receptive to the immediate abutters.
and I didn't think that any of the immediate butters were asking for anything that they shouldn't have asked for. Like, I thought everything was very reasonable, and very amicable, and it did sound like everyone was trying to listen to each other rather than talk over each other, so.
All right. That said, I believe we've covered the agenda as prescribed, and I will say 35 minutes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, second.
First and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none.
Have a
Have a
good night.
good night, folks. Thanks for joining us.